going to let you in on a little secret about ministers trained to serve in our more progressive mainline denominations in the past 10 to 15 years, perhaps a little more broadly than that. We have a tendency to default to preaching about all that is wrong with the world. It seems almost as if we enjoy it. The feeling of accomplishment, having written and delivered the great social justice sermon. I wonder if you might know what I mean. Along with delivering a great social justice sermon, should we look around our world, we see that there is much about which we might preach, as there is much in our world that is not as God intends. There is violence and war, racism, sexism, homophobia. There are natural disasters, socioeconomic inequality. And should we read carefully our scriptures, we know that all of this flies in the face of what our faith calls us to pursue. And living in the South Bay, despite being surrounded by the sights and sounds of the Christmas season, no perceived bubble can truly shelter us from all of these worldly realities. Not if we have our eyes and ears open just even a little bit. I'm not going to lie, on any given Sunday, that social justice sermon reminding us of how far we have to go could easily find its way into the pulpit. And yet, I am not sure such a single-minded approach to preaching is the best way to go about it. For one thing, I have to imagine at least some of you who are gathered in this sanctuary might become weary of such a message. But for another, I honestly don't think that such an approach fully encompasses the message of our faith. For while it is true throughout the scriptures that there is an echoing call for us as human beings to do better, to live more fully aligned with the values of our faith, there is also something else. Throughout the scriptures and in our passage today, there is a reminder that we have reason to be joyful. For in the midst of the sadness, God promises us that we will find joy. In our passage this morning, the prophet Isaiah is writing to a people at this stage of his career who are returning from exile. The act of return is in itself reason for joy, yet the prophet does not stop there. Isaiah goes about reminding the people that there is more reason than just that. He speaks of all that God promises to do in the midst of the community, grounding these promises in the nature and character of God, who has an unwavering love for God's people. In essence, Isaiah is reminding the people of his time, even in the face of realities of their world, you have reason to be joyful. It's a message that resounds throughout the centuries for people of faith. For while there are always reasons for sadness and ways in which we can do better, there are also always reasons for joy. A couple of weeks back, I was having what I thought to be a fairly innocuous conversation with my wife, Elena. We were chatting about this or that, nothing in particular, really. And the conversation turned to how we fill the space when we are driving. She had recently put out a plea on Facebook for recommendations for good podcasts. For you see, Elena, as you may know, serves a church in Long Beach and has a slightly longer commute than I do, since we live about 5 minutes away. In any case, she reminded me recently that as part of that conversation, I spoke of how I was trying to listen to more music, not just in the car, but more generally. And she was affirming that choice. I believe what she said was, you're just happier when you're listening to music. I thought a little bit about this assertion, and she's right, as usual. No one needs to tell her that. Music is definitely something that brings joy into my life, and I'm guessing I'm not alone in this. So as I am prone to do, this got me to thinking about various songs in various genres that are written as expressions of happiness and joy. And so I'm going to share some of those with you. With Jacob's help, I'm going to do that. So let's give it a shot. Different genres. In recent years, there may be no better example of a song whose sole purpose is to encourage a sense of happiness and joy than my choice in the pop category.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With
Feel free to dance.
like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Okay, so that was Pharrell's Happy. We could have an over and under on the number of times the word happy is used as well today. Now, in the classical category, my selection should not surprise you, as it is perhaps the most on-the-nose entry into this particular list. So that was Beethoven's Ode to Joy. A little on the nose there. Seeing that we're in a church, it seemed appropriate and necessary that we include an entry from the category of gospel music. There are many from which we might choose, as celebrating the good things that God gives is a staple of that genre. But this is my favorite. Okay. Being part of the Manhattan Beach Community Church, with the history that we have as a congregation, you know that I had to include something out of the musical theater genre. And so here's what I pulled out of that one.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling, and everything's going my way.
So that was from what musical? Nice job. Folk music is a genre that, like those pesky progressive preachers, has a tendency to focus a great deal on social justice issues. But there is also a lighter side to the folk genre. And so maybe you know this one.
Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, feeling groovy.
Okay, so we know that's Simon and Garfunkel. Can anyone tell me the actual name of the song? 59th Street Bridge song, and anytime you see it, it's listed as, parenthetically, feelin' groovy. All right. As I was considering the various genres of music this week, and seeking out the most joy-filled expressions of the category, the type of music I had the most difficulty with was country. It is a genre known for songs about loss, of loves and pets and trucks. But I did come across a couple of possibilities. In fact, Jacob helped me out with this one, so maybe you know this one, maybe you don't, but let's give it a shot.
If you hear music from down the street and you find yourself tapping your feet, just ease on by. If you want to, there's only one thing expected of you. Enjoy yourself, have a big time, dance a little bit.
I think he goes on to talk about drinking. Apparently, you need, in the country music, you have to add a little calypso thing to it and make it sound like Jimmy Buffett. Finally, this list of mine would be incomplete without this soul classic from the godfather of soul himself.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I would not. I feel good. I knew that I would not. So good, so good. I got you. Wow.
Also a parenthetical name, by the way. It's. Does anyone know the name of the song? It's named I Got You. Parenthetically, I Feel Good. James Brown. I imagine the rest of us might have other suggestions, and I want to respect that. So I'm going to invite you to find in your pew pockets the little pads of paper and the mini pencils. I'm really not sure why they're there otherwise, so, other than someone built the pew pockets with little holes for pencils. If you have a suggestion to add to my list, I invite you to write it down and place it along with an offering in the offering plates as they pass through the pews. Music is something that has the capacity to touch a wide range of our emotions, and among them, joy is definitely counted. Joyful music can make us smile, it can invite us to sing, it can even tempt us to dance, even in the car while safely stopped at a light. And it is but one of the expressions of joy we have in life, but it is one we all share. There are other such expressions, of course. I'm reminded each morning of the joy of family, the joy of children, the joy of pets. There's also the joy of good friends. There is joy to be found in the beauty that surrounds us in nature. I mean, can you honestly look at a crystal clear blue sky on a 70-degree morning in December and not smile just a little bit? There is joy to be found in the midst of this community, in the friendships and the mutual sense of care, and the opportunity for spiritual growth and the love that is shared. Joy need not be a lost experience. To be certain, there is much in the world that can lead us to sadness. There is much that serves to call us to action. And we must not simply accept the realities of the world without recognizing both our complicity and our ability to bring about change. Yet we are reminded by our faith that in the midst of sadness, you will find joy. The Advent season reminds us that Jesus came bringing joy to the world. God intends joy to be part of our lives. We know this, for when we take the time to notice, there are reasons for joy all around us. The Spirit of God is upon us, my friends, and it is a spirit of joy. Amen.